Okay, hey guys, so this time we're going to build a little service, as it says right here, a network service, that is going to check and show us this little model when the network changes, so we are online or offline. It's going to check for that and send us this model, so we are aware of that. Okay, and also it works with the network. So well, I think I show you. I'm going to unplug my cable, my Ethernet. Okay, and you can see we are offline. Okay, let me remove that. Okay, so it's now. Okay, there we go. Let's close that, and once we are online, it should. Well, I think I didn't give that enough time. So let's try again. Ton of fucking cables here, so you can see offline. We hit enter and we click that again. Let's wait for that, and well, that's weird. Okay, online. That's nice. So it took a little second there to start, but okay, it's checking the network. And also, you will see that we are on localhost 8080. We are not able to test, okay, if we are only on our local dev server. So I hope I didn't plug anything while I was down there. So we'll figure it out. So we have to make this a progressive web app in order to test correctly, okay? And you can see we have this plus install Angular snack bar. Okay, it says a snack bar because I checked the code and it was using a snack bar, but it was really abstract, so I have to edit most of the code, and well, not most, but in order to use it as a real service and change it to be something more you know, more demanding and input for the user, like a model. Okay, so the user knows or sees actually, because the model, unless you click that cancel, or we can, well, or the document is going to stay there, so it's going to show the user that you have problems with the network and all that. So we are going to install or set the progressive web app. Also, we're using Angular material, and okay, I think that's enough talking. So again, forgot to say this, we are using HTTP server, so I guess I will show you how to install that later once we get there. So let's Control C to stop the server. Okay, and let's go to HTTP localhost 482.0.0, so we can see, okay, that we have nothing here. So, and okay, we're still in kind of Halloween, so I changed my background to something more not that cute as it was before. So I already have this project. It's just a simple Angular project. Okay, you can create that, and so we can follow along with the project. So let's open this one in code. Okay, let me minimize this, and let's see. Let's wait for this. So let me minimize my OBS so I can have the project there. This is going to be a pretty simple project. Okay, everything is going to be built inside the component ES and HTML, because we don't need anything else. So let me just copy what we're going to set inside here. Okay, so we have this class container, and we're going to actually already set the style CSS, so we have that. Control C, Control V. Okay, so we have that kind of styling going on. So we still don't have that open. So did I have that? Yep. I'm using git bash, so let's say git bash and use serve, so we can see the project is running. So let's wait for that to open. And as I said, the only difficult thing that we're going to actually do is the dialog. As I said, we're going to use a Angular material, and we're going to start using schematics once we see that this is actually running. Okay, so let's refresh this, close that, and you can see we have the basic structure. Okay, you can add it. So this isn't really important, since we are going to focus only on the service. So what we show is really not that big of a deal. So we have that, and let me go to app module, because I'm also not using routers. Okay, routing, we don't need that. The service is going to be waiting in the main module, so we don't need to actually set routing or anything else. It should work as it is. So let's Control C to stop the server, and let me just copy this. So we're going to install Angular material right away. Paste ng add add Angular / material. So this is going to install, okay, all the things we need using schematics, and we're going to do the same. In case you're wondering about a progressive web app, we're going to do the same using ng add Angular progressive web app. Okay, you can check this. Well, this is mostly for Spanish people, but I think you should be able to translate that in English. But in case you want to learn a little bit more about Angular progressive web app, okay, but it's pretty simple. We will have something that is going to cache also network requests. So I'm going to set a new Angular progressive web app project. So yeah, so actually we're going to, okay, what the hell? So I think this is going to take a bit. So okay, no, it's actually installing right now. So let's kind of wait for that. If it takes too long, then I'm going to just, I guess I'm going to cut that, or maybe do something else, I don't know. So in the past, we had to install, well, let me talk a little bit about Angular material. We had to install several things or perform several steps in order to import Angular material into our project, but now using just schematics is going to be easier to set up all the components and everything we need in order to use Angular material. So let me go actually to components to show you what we are going to use. So we're going to use the dialog, and I know this is a little okay, so it installed. I know that the documentation is not that good. Okay, they show examples, but they're not showing everything that you need to do. That's why I also chose modals, because I think most people want to work with modals. And although I have an Angular 7 and Firebase using a modal in order to show a form, okay, I wanted to show how to structure this in a more simpler way. So you can see what we get. We can also send information from this. So let's say, what's your favorite animal? Let's say, I don't know, well, dog. So, okay. And we can send the information from the model to the component. Okay, we are not going to use that, but I'm going to show you how it's done. So, okay, that is set. We have that. And let's actually before we add the progressive web app, let's say ng generate component. So we're going to not a component, sorry, a service. We're going to generate a service that is going to be called offline. I don't know, you can call it however you want. Let's generate this, and okay, that's created, so we can stop working. And yeah, let's start working with this. So let's remove that. I already have that in my notes, so okay. Well, let's start. So what we need to do now, you will see that well, let's actually create the service. Okay, the service is pretty simple, so let's actually create a service, and then we're going to start, okay, implementing to the HTML and to the component. Okay, well, mostly to the component. We are not going to use anything in the HTML. It's just for looks. So let's say also forgot, we need to add a module. The module name is ng connection service. Okay, forgot to do that. So this one is going to detect whether the browser has an active internet connection or not in an Angular application. Okay, so let's copy this, npm install, let's paste it, and let's wait for that to install. So actually, you can start working with a material. So in order to work with dialog, we need to create something. Okay, we need to come here into our app and create a new folder that is going to be the component that is going to be added into our other components. Okay, so let's add a new folder and say dialog. Inside this, we're going to create maybe just the dialog that component. Lol. Okay, it's just that it added that, so let me just rename this dialog component that CSS. We can call it like that. The CSS, in case you want to add, you can style the CSS for this locally, okay, inside its own directory, or you can add it inside the style CSS. Okay, so dialog that component that HTML, and we need the TS. Yep, dialog that component that TS. Okay, so in order to use the component, we're going to import these things. Okay, component only need an inject from Angular core and mat dialog ref and mat dialog data from Angular material. Okay, so now we don't have to create a shared folder. Okay, or well, you can create that a shared folder like we did in the Firebase and Angular material, but right now you are able to import everything inside your components or what you need. So I'm going to create the component. Add component, selector, app dialog. The template is going to use the component HTML and the dialog component HTML. So these two are linked. Now we're going to say export dialog component that implements on init. Okay, let me close this. So it's going to tell us that we need to add the ng on init. So let's add that. Okay, so we have this. This is a component that is going to be injected into our other components. So we need to create this constructor. So just follow this reference and you will be fine. Okay, this is just setting the structure so we can have the dialog, and then we will use the methods that it provides us. So we create this public dialog reference that is the mat dialog ref using the dialog component. So we instantiate the name of the class, or we add the name of the class. So it kind of creates an instance of itself, and we inject, okay, the information. And now with this event that on no click, we're going to close the reference, the dialog reference. What this means is that when we click outside, the dialog is going to close. Okay, so we have this. Let's save this, and all this should work inside our dialog. So let me go back to dialog and let's see the view source. Okay, you can see all this crap, but it's essentially the same. And this is the HTML. So we need to set actually this mat dialog title, content, and all that. Okay, in order to show or to pass information, we use the mat dialog clause in order to send the data we need. In this case, is the data and animal property. Okay, so we have this installed, and let's actually say ng serve. So we have the application, and I'm going to just copy this. This is just the same skeleton that we're going to use, or that you're going to use in other projects, so there's no need to show everything. So what we're going to do here is to create the H1 using mat dialog title. Okay, this is what we're going to show, the network service, and the mat dialog content that is going to be what is shown. How can I freaking, okay, this is the title and this is the content, all the rest of that, and these are the action buttons. Okay, so you can see the mat dialog actions and you can select buttons. So with the on no click, we're going to close that because we already have that. It's instantiating what we have here, the no on click on, or the no or on no click, fuck that. So and this is actually what is going to allow us to send. So I'm going to well, let's keep it like this. So we can say button mat dialog close. So this is actually going to bind what we send here, and we are able to use that in the component, okay, inside another well, not this, but inside your component. I will show that. Well, you can go to my Angular, okay, and Firebase. So I show you how to actually do this using the modal to send the form data that the user adds in order to update a Firebase post. Okay, so you will see that better because we're not going to use this functionality here, so there's no point of doing that. But you can check that if you want, or if you have any doubt, just let me know. But there's no point of doing that since I already have that functionality, so you should be able to look into my videos and check that if you are interested. So now what we're going to do is to we should have, okay, well, we need to add the ng so let's actually say Control Shift T, Control Shift T. So let me copy that because it doesn't allow to get the, okay, add symbol. So let's save this or copy that, and where the hell is my, okay, paste ng add Angular progressive web app, and that should work. Let's close this one, let's close this one already, and let's keep that one open in case we need that. So I hope this doesn't break what I'm going to do. So it's going to update all this. So let's save this, and of course we cannot see that right now, but let's actually go to the offline service, and we should be able now, since the package is installed, to start working with this. So what we're going to do, everything that is related to this is going to be added by hand, you know that. So from ng, let's see if I can get the, no, it seems that it's busy installing, so it's not going to give me that. So let's try to save this. Okay, it's actually installing and creating all this. Okay, let's wait for that actually. Meanwhile, let's say let's go to my GitHub so I can show you what I mean by the last project we did, or we have in the channel. Meanwhile, this is being installed, so I'll take the time to do it. Angular material, so source app. I have this share, so let's go to a main dialog component ts, and we have the same structure. Okay, component HTML, and you can see that we are sending the post image and the post title and the post content using well, passing this one is using main. Okay, no, I think this one is not using main. Is, well, let's see. On dialog open. Okay, this is what we're going to do, or what we did. Using this, when we open the dialog, it's going to send the object, okay? And this dialog open, we're going to use this, I think. Maybe, or I guess not, because we're not sending data. But let me show you the HTML, because this one is working with a button that when we click this button, the post that we have received from the Firebase database is going to be added into this open dialog. So what we're going to do then is just set some features or some settings, like the width, okay, of the dialog is going to be 80%. Every time it's going to be 80%, okay? And the data, we pass this data and we pass an object with the name we want to give that to the object we're going to pass, that is the object that is coming from Firebase, okay? And after close, we're going to subscribe to after close, that is the event that closes, and we can send information. So yeah, better go and check the video because I explained that better so you understand. But once we have this, and let's go to ngserve, let's say ngserve. As I said, this is a pretty basic, well, not basic, but it's not that complex in terms of what you need to do, but if you want to add more things, yeah, it's going to get a little more complex. So now we have this, everything should work. Now we have everything. So let's say connection service. Now we get the intelligence and import from RxJs, we're going to import a behavior subject. So let's start building this. So we're going to add here a public variable that is the connection, that is going to be a string and it's going to be offline. Not offline, but offline. Just like that. And I forgot to tell you that we have an id class that is just an error. Well, sorry. We're going to set the class error if the current status is offline and active if the current status is online. The error has a color of red and the online has a color, the green color. Okay, so that's the only thing there. Now we're going to set public status. We're going to have this behavior subject. Right now it's going to be just any. If you want more to be more strict, you can add that, because this should be a string. So the type is string behavior subject. So we create a new behavior subject. We need to specify again the type. Okay, and this, that, so we don't have to worry about this. I'm just going to set it to any. So this.con. Okay, so we're going to pass this connection inside this status that is going to be the new behavior subject. Okay, the behavior subject allows us to send information between components, and it's something, if you are interested, as I said on my other video with React, it's something that is going to allow in React to be kind of more reactive, so you don't have to wait. What happens with Redux and MoveX and some other things is that they have a little delay in terms of setting the state. Okay, so you often change the state. I know this is off the record here in Angular, because we already have this behavior in Angular, but to explain you a little bit about why this thing is useful in some others, in some other places like React, is because it reacts immediately. Okay, when setting a state, or when setting something with a state management, sometimes, and most of the times, it takes some time in order to add the new value. So you often receive a previous value, okay, when you call the function or the state definition of that. So you often get the value before. Okay, so when you update a value, when you call it again, you get the before value. Okay, so that's a problem when changing the a status. But with behavior subject, we're able to send information right away. Okay, so it's an observable. We are checking all the time for that. And if you add more, it could be some, it could start leaching some resources. So you should be careful with this, not adding a ton of subscriptions. And if you add subscriptions, make a tree of subscriptions, like a master subscription with subscriptions below that, so you can start closing those. So you need to be careful with that in Angular and also in React. But I know this React is offset, but it's always useful to understand what happens with other technologies, so we can migrate in case we need to, and we can understand what is going on. So it's going to make us better developers. Connection service. So let's continue with this. So we need to instantiate this connection service inside our constructor, and although we cannot say that this is best practices, what it's going to do now, instead of making a function and calling inside the constructor, since we don't have, we don't want to add the only need or anything else, let's actually create that inside the constructor, because the constructor, once the application is created, since this is a service and it's going to be inside the app module, or the main module, is going to actually be called as soon as the application starts, so we can add whatever functionality we want inside, okay, to be performed when the application runs. So we're going to create, or we're going to use the monitor, okay, method that has this connection service. Remember that we installed the package. What the hell is going on with this? So after this, we're going to subscribe to this because this is an observable, and we're going to get the connection. Let's call it connection like that for this, okay, and we're going to make a simple check here. If the connection is set, this.con is going to be equals to online, and in order to change what is going to be passed into the behavior subject, we need to add the next method, or we need to pass something inside the next method. So we're going to say this that status, no status, the status, okay, next, that this is a method we have when we create an observable, and we're going to pass this.con. You could also pass something like offline, online like this, but let's pass it like that. It's essentially the same. So else, if the condition is not set, then we're going to say con is going to be equal to offline, and with that we're going to pass this status the next value of this.con, so we have the updated status inside our observable, okay, and that is going to be passed to the rest of the application. So we have that. Let's clean this a little bit so it looks kind of cute. Okay, so now we have this, and we can use the behavior subject inside our component. So let me check something, because yes, I need to do something. Okay, something before in the app module. You can see that we have the service worker module and the environment because we added the NG progressive web app. Okay, we have the now this running, or this is already set inside our application. So we have now progressive web app functionality that we need in order to test this in kind of the real world. So we need to say something here. We need to import something, okay? Since what we're going to do is to show the dialog, okay, we need to import it inside our main component or our main module, or the module that we are going to use in order to show that, okay? So if you create another module, you will need to pass that inside your module for that behavior to happen. So let's say from. So we are going to pass right now the Angular material. You can also create a share folder. That's why I said you can add it here, or create a share folder and pass that. You know, there's a ton of ways. Well, not a ton, but there's another way you can do this that is more modular. But well, you can see that. So we're going to use mat dialog module. Okay, always use the module. So, and after this, we need to import something that, as I said, we need to show this, okay, component when we want to display something. Okay, we need to show that to show the dialog. So what we're going to use is the dialog component. So we have this. As I copy that, we have the dialog component. So that is the class that we are going to show. Okay, and from, we need to look for that. So let's say a dialog and dialog component. Okay, and we need to import these two things. First, we need to import the mat dialog using the imports. So this should be a comma. Plop. Okay, let's clean that spacing. And now inside, sorry, not here, inside the entry components, we're going to use the dialog component. No, sorry, let's add a comma there in case you want to add something else. So we're going to use the, you can add, I think, server, I don't know, you can add a ton of things here. But most of the times you're not going to use, unless you use or you have a more complex application. But most of the times you don't need to change what is going to happen here if you create some medium-sized applications. So let's head back so you can see I compiled correctly. So we should have everything set in order to continue with the dialog, not the dialog component, sorry, but with the app component. So let's see if we have that, okay? If we have that working, so if we come back here, everything should work. We have errors, but it's, well, let's see, one error console. Component dialog is a part of any, okay. You serve. Let's wait for that, and I think I should remove that error. So let's wait for that to see. Because I think I have everything set. It's already imported in the app module, so that should work. Because it's going to be an entry component, so okay, component dialog is not part of engine module, or the module has not been imported into your module. Okay, so let's actually try to continue with this, because as I remember, we only need to pass that inside our component. So I'm just checking, looking for my freaking component. So let's continue with this. So we're going to import the offline and the dialog component. Okay, that's what we needed to do. Let's copy those. We're going to import the offline service from offline service and the dialog component from dialog component. That is this one, okay, the one we're using. So let's save that, and I think that should get rid of that because it's a part. Okay, let's wait for that. I think we need to use it actually. So import mat dialog from Angular material. We need to import this in order to use the functionality. So let's keep it like that, and we have this. Okay, the title is already gone from the HTML. I was going to say HTTP, and I'm going to, well, let's just type it constructor. So this one is going to be the private offline service that is going to be type offline service, and the public, if I can type public dialog, that is going to be type mat dialog. Okay, so let's add a little space in there, and let's remove that. I don't know why I added that. So let's continue. We're going to say open dialog. That is the function I show you in the repo, with the status is going to be type any. I was going to type something weirder. Void and constant dialog ref is going to be equals to this that dialog that open. We have that method there. The dialog component, we need to pass that, and we're going to use the width. Okay, now we are in the settings, 30%. We don't want that to be too wide. And the data, we're going to pass the current status that we don't have that. Yeah, well, let's say current status. I'm just naming this differently so you can see. Now, inside this, we're going to call the dialog ref that after close. Okay, we need to subscribe to this, and we're going to get a result. This is for you to have this functionality, and we can say console log the result. That is what we're going to pass. Let's see how this goes. Okay, it's still the same. Let's actually see what is going on. And this is done. Okay, for this is already set. So let's say ng on init. So we're going to say this that offline service that status, because the status is a behavior subject, so it already shows us we can subscribe, but we're going to, well, let's subscribe to this. Okay, so we can see that before showing you what is going on here with this that not throw statement, this that dialog that close all. So what is going, well, let's keep this one outside too. Let's say console that log stat, what the hell is going on, status, and we're going to say this that open dialog with the status. So we're using here the status that is coming from this status, okay, the offline service, and passing to the open dialog. So let's save that and let's see if this is going to fucking work or what. Okay, so component dialog is not part of ng module. Did I miss something inside my component module? Let's see. Oh yeah, yes, I forgot something. Yes. Because I didn't declare the component. Okay, let's save that. Okay, we're offline for a reason. Oh, because that's the first value that we're going to send to the behavioral subject. So the behavioral subject is going to take the first value, okay, and then it's going to be checking for that. Or there's a way in, so right now let's see this. Every time the user does this, refreshes the app, is going to show us that message, okay, and it's going to say it's offline, and we're going to say what the hell, you know. So let's close this, and actually let's close this since I think we don't need that. So everything is set here, dialog component, everything is set there, and so let me show you. I think this should work. So let me just remove that and pass this. So we say something. So this should do something. Okay, it's not showing that. I will need to check that. The service is already done. We don't need anything else in the service. We're going to handle everything here, I think. If not, well, we will open that again. So why this thing is not working? It's because I did that. On define, okay, app component TS29, okay, result. So we are not getting that. There's a way to pass that, but let's keep this out of this because I don't want to take time for what we're going to do. Okay, Once we finish this, maybe we can troubleshoot this, okay? Because there's a specific way so you can pass. Control Shift T. I don't know why I closed that. This is going to end up being a tutorial about models. So we are going to pass here using data, but we don't want to pass that. So let's Control Shift T. So we go to the main component. I know this is off the topic, but I don't want to leave you hanging in case you want to see this. So we should be able to pass to get the result. So how am I passing that here? Using the HTML. That's why sometimes I open dialog. No, where is my dialog? Okay, we need to pass it like this or what? CD focus initial, CDK focus initial. So data post. Okay, so let's keep that right now outside of this, because I don't want this to be turned into a model tutorial. We can do that later, or we can, well, I don't know. If you want me to do that, let me know. Okay, because as far as I know, or as far as I remember, this should already return what is going to be set using this. Okay, so it returns undefined because result is undefined. So what if I just add that inside what? Because I think it's expecting the same status, or well, let's keep it like that. Fuck it, let's keep this one out of the way because I'm wasting time here and I don't know if you want to see this. So right now it's just wasting time. So to the topic again. So every time we refresh the application, okay, it's going to show us this and it's going to say, what the fuck? Didn't I? Because it's after close, it's going to show that. So there's an, I think I know why. I think I know why that is not working. But okay, let's continue with this. So I can see that later in the code I have. So, but let's see this. Let's refresh. Let's see what happens if we go to application and click offline and online and offline. So we close. As you can see, we have multiple instances of this. Okay, so we don't want that. So they give us a little method that is close also. Before we do anything else, we're going to close everything. It says we're in the development server. Okay, so that's why we're going to test this later using the app, Progressive Web App. So right now, if we do this, it's going to close the one before, okay, and it's going to only keep an instance of that. So that problem is set. It's going to delete everything else and create a new instance, deleting all the latest or the instances that were before that. So now we have this, and there's also another problem, as you can see. But this is what I hate about testing this shit here. But let's say we have this offline and we are clearly online, okay, because we're using internet. So what we need to do, okay, I changed my freaking settings here. Okay, so we are on the app component. Yes, let me just get this thing. Okay, just pretty simple. We need to get rid of this first instance that doesn't make sense. Okay, so we're going to use something, a little operator, import from that is RxJs operators. So from that, we're going to actually, what we want to do. Let's say what we want. Let's think what we want to do. We want to skip this first instance, okay, because it's not useful. Okay, so let's say skip. We want skip. Okay, you can see we have skip while, skip until, and skip last. So skip, and remember that we can work with observables using the pipe before making the subscription. So this one is going to actually, as we have said before with the RxJs tutorials we have made, this actually is going to capture this stream, and before subscribing and making everything else, it's going to do something. So right now we're just going to skip one. Okay, so we save this, and the first part is not going to be set. Okay, so now everything is going to of course, if you want to really test, you could say, okay, let's check the status. If the status is offline, out of the, when we first instantiate the application, you can also check that on the service. Okay, so if this is actually offline, then we pass a value maybe, or we can do it, of course, here, that well, we need to actually get the stream, so I'm not sure how you will make that. I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking correctly, but we will need to actually close the first when we are offline right off the bat, and yeah, it's going to be a little we need to be more logical thinking about that, how we want to structure that functionality, because right now if we are offline, okay, oh well, you can also say set something, because we're checking the status. Okay, so let's say offline. Actually, we could say, we could wrap this inside another status here. Let's say I'm not sure if you like really this kind of thing. Okay, because here we will get the status is equal to this, that status or connection, which I think it's a status, but we need to subscribe to that and actually pass the status inside this. So we're subscribing to this, but it's going to skip the first part. That's the only problem, because you can check, you will need to make another check in order to make it first appear if the if that is offline. Okay, I know I kind of talking a little bit too much, but I just want to make sure, in case you're wondering what if the application is offline first. Well, you can add an HTML element or an AG template that checks for the first value coming from this. Okay, but you will need to create another instance or another public variable in order to catch the first step. Okay, so maybe just map it, maybe map that and try to continue, okay, with that. So I'm not sure how that would work, because it's a little more logical thinking that we are going to do here. So I'm trying to just show you ways. As I said of my other videos, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I don't want to leave you hanging there thinking about how you could make this work. I will at least try to give you ideas. So we are almost at the end of this, as I think. So I think we're at the end of this. The service is working. Okay, and we are skipping the first set that is saying that we are offline. Of course, you can say if we are offline here, stop skipping this one. Maybe if we are offline, as I said, I don't know if you like this kind of shit of me testing things here, okay? Because I don't want you to feel, I don't know, uncomfortable or I don't know. Because once I start testing things, I keep testing and testing and testing, and that's just the way I am. So what could we do here if the status, if status is false, then we could return that. Let's say console.log status. We're going to test that in a bit with so we don't need that console. So we are not setting that because it's no. Let's see what we're already consoling this. So why is not consoling the offline set component TS42? Okay, it's actually this one. So we have to test if status equals offline. Okay, console.log, or let's say console.log offline status detected. Offline status detected, line 40. Okay. So if you're offline, maybe to close all that, or we could. It's just that it's a little. Maybe we could map and skip. Well, I don't want to make this more to waste more time with this kind of testing. Okay, so we have that, and let's return it to what it was before. Would be easier to just type skip, but well, let's skip. So we have that. Okay, of course you can improve that as I show, as I've been telling you. So let's actually come back and everything should work. Let's give it one more try. Of course, this is not going to work if I do this because it's going to tell me there's no internet. Okay, you need to actually build the application in order to show or to have the progressive web app capabilities. So let's actually come here and let's get our code. So let's say ng build to production. If I can type correctly. Let's wait for that. So meanwhile, let's go to check something. So we're okay. I think we have the dialog TS. Is that only the same? Just the same. Calling this dialog close. And this is the data that we are actually going to pass, that we are setting. So that's why it's any, because you are just going to pass or let pass anything. Okay, let's wait for that. It's going to take a little bit, I think. So meanwhile, I want to check why this thing is not. So this should be allowed. Okay, we should have the result. Behavior node. Or subscribe. I can't see anything else. Delete post. I can't remember how this thing was said. I should, for the next times, I should add better comments so I can see what's going on, because all I can see now is that we are passing the post inside our dialog. So this is the post, the actual object, this one. Okay, so for that, main routing, okay, all this is for the filter bias for the filter. So open dialog is passing the same, so dialog after close. So if I say, okay, this is done, so let's go. Let me show you HTTP server. Come to HTTP server, install that. Okay, it says here npm install HTTP server and all that crap. So let's say HTTP server dash o. This is going to open, but it's going to open with this because this is my main and this is not working, okay, because we need to refresh the cache. It's actually caching that. So instead of working with this, let's say localhost and port 8080, that is the one that is using. So control F5 to clear all that, and of course I'm stupid and we're not using the correct instance, so you don't need to run that inside the disk. You need to come here into the Angular network service, okay, that is the folder that contains all this, and let's go again to git bash and say http server again and dash o to open that. Well, of course you're going to open with this shit. I don't know why I'm doing this dash o. So now Control F5, and you can see we have the instance of the application offline, checking offline. But now if we refresh, you can see that we are kinda in this offline, okay, and we are back online. Now let's go to the back of my PC and remove this. Okay, so you can see it's offline, and if I connect that again, let's see if it actually sets that online. Okay, I didn't need to click that. It's going to close the, once the subscription is changed, it's going to close the other one, and it's going to open the latest instance with the latest value. So that is all. If you want me to check this, I mean, if you want, well, you should be able to go to the Angular and Firebase, as I explained before. Sorry if you found this a little more kind of setting, I don't know, but once I get something in my head, I try to make it work. So I can remember how this thing was set that was able to work with that. So let's say main post share at post component ts. No, it's not. It's only using that. It's only being used in the main, and I can remember how that was set. So I will need to check this. I'm planning also to make another Angular material courses, so I will need to check this. So yeah, that's odd because I have the other button enabled, right? No, it's not this. Well, it was that one. I'm going to close the video right in a second. Just let me check this. Yes, I got the other button. Audio delete post. Oh, because I need to pass a function maybe. So we can actually delete from that and the open post. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you didn't find this unsettling or uncomfortable, or I don't know, for me to start checking that. But that's the way I do things. So let me know if you want me to stick right into the project without any talking, without any, just to explain all this. Okay, so let me know about that. And if you want me to make this, okay, kind of keep talking with trying to tell you different ways where you can achieve other things. I'm happy to do it. And yeah, so that's it for this one. And I hope you enjoy it. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and please like this if you like that. Dislike it if you didn't like this. If you think it's shit, okay. Yeah, comment whatever you want. So yeah, and see you in the next one.